Chapter 16. Cassandra slept late the next morning and tried to go back to sleep after she did, but she couldn't. She tried to pray the night before, but nothing besides simple, generic thoughts came. She was numb, more numb than she'd been in a long time. Hunger and the need for the bathroom pushed her toward movement, but she only rose when she heard, "Are you still in there?" from the hallway. Cassandra rolled out of bed toward the door. Damien stood just beyond the threshold with one eyebrow raised. "You weren't even out last night." "Still sore," Cassandra said. It wasn't entirely untrue, and it was easier than explaining the night before. She didn't think she had words for what happened. "Well, Father called. Whatever the League needed him for, he's finished now. He's just gonna need time to travel back." Cassandra managed half a smile at that. Bruce was safe. That had to account for something. There were still appearances to keep up with, so Cassandra went to the bathroom to clean herself up. Though she'd been awake for at least an hour, it was as if all her senses only then caught up with her. Her eyes felt crummy and sticky, though she couldn't remember crying the previous night. When she came to the shower, she turned the water up higher than usual. It stung a little on first contact, but she acclimated quickly. For reasons she wasn't sure of, she tilted the shower head down and sat on the floor, buffeted by the hot water until it started to cool, and she finally stepped out. It was afternoon when she crossed into the kitchen. It slowly passed her mind that Damien's question should have seemed out of place, since she was out most nights and usually slept late. Unless he kept mental notes of when the team was actively working. Cassandra deemed that was a thought better not lingered upon, and scoured the pantries and refrigerator for something to eat. Alfred was probably on a schedule of sleep and tech support for Bruce in the night. Cassandra hadn't seen him in days. "You seem off." Cassandra turned to Damien as she was undoing the knot on a bread bag. "Forgot you were here." "Do you think I go anywhere during the day?" He passed her and walked to the refrigerator. "I never see you much." "Nobody ever told me to keep social. But I guess that doesn't mean much of anything directed at you, does it?" Cassandra shook her head and slipped half of a baguette out of the bag and cut it into 2 slices. "You never talk about it much." "What? Being younger?" Inside, Cassandra wasn't sure how much of Damien's life she really wanted to hear about, but maybe he could just distract her for a while. "If Father is to be believed, it was a lot like what you went through, just not to the same degree. Rigorous training, Mother oversaw my progress. I have a lot to live up to." Cassandra nodded as he spoke. "Did you know my parents?" "More by reputation than anything. Shiva's still pretty legendary around there. No one trusts her as far as they can fight her, but my grandfather keeps in contact. Cain, though, he's considered tarnished silver at this point." "Tarnished?" "I've only met him a few times, but I've heard a lot of the talk. They joke that he had all the potential in the world, but he just ended up creating 2 of the biggest pains the League has to deal with. My father, and you, of course." "He must be why you're feeling off, right?" It was certainly easier to explain, so Cassandra nodded. "Yes." "Why do you care, though? I like to fight, but even I'd hate him for what he did." "I don't like pain. I want to save everyone I can. Even him." "Were you always like this, or was this after your religious phase started?" Cassandra's toast popped up. "Not a phase." "You know what I mean." Even of her own struggles, Cassandra did understand Damien wasn't trying to be disrespectful. He didn't appreciate the weight of some of his words, just like she didn't. "David only taught me how to hurt and be hurt. Since I ran, I wanted to make things better. For everyone." It was only saying it aloud that Cassandra considered what similar things Connor had said. She became acutely aware that even if he hadn't even been gone a day, she missed him already. "Why the church stuff, then?" Damien followed Cassandra as she buttered her toast and took it into Wayne Manor's massive dining room. She seated herself at the head of the huge mahogany table. "Sounds like everything except your wardrobe has been exactly the same." "You might not understand," Cassandra said. "Do you believe in God?" "Never saw a reason to," Damien said. "Never came up in the League. Mother only ever called religion a means of manipulating people. I know my grandfather had servants outside the League who worshipped him or saw him as some kind of savior, but they were viewed as fools under his foot. What do you get out of it?" Cassandra shrugged. Don't always know. Used to think life was dark, that we were fighting the way things are. With God, life is light, and we are protection. Do you really think there's such a big difference? I don't know. But I like it better. Other reasons too, but that one's important. The two sat in silence for a minute while Cassandra finished her toast. What do you want when this is over? What do you mean, over? Cassandra clutched one of her shoulders. When we don't have to fight anymore. I don't think that day is ever going to come, Damien said. Not the war my father fights. The League of Assassins have been around for centuries. Common criminals are never going away for good. It'll never be over because we won. It'll be over because we quit. Cassandra leaned into an open hand and rubbed her forehead. Do you think that will happen? I could do this forever, Damien said. I give the college kids another year or two tops. They're not made out for this line of work. They're stronger than you know, Cassandra said. I'll believe it when I see it. Some days I want to stop. Damien frowned. Why? You're so strong and so good at this, even my father doesn't want to think about trying to fight you. He says it himself. If I could help the sick, like Stephanie's mother, I would. If I could study and lend support like Barbara, I would. I only know how to fight and pray to help people. So I do. Nothing wrong with playing to your strengths, Damien said. If it helps you get your head around it, there's people saving too. Hostages and targets and stuff like that. Cassandra gave that a half-hearted nod. Either way, there's always a lot of work to be done. Damien pushed up from his seat. I'm gonna go get some cardio in. Cassandra's nod served as a farewell as she leaned her head deeper into one of her hands. Their talk and the nature of their work had brought Connor back to the forefront of her mind. What would he tell her? Connor hadn't been clear on if he actually believed in God or not, only that he didn't think it was a very important question. All that was actually important were the choices that were made, and to keep people from suffering. Cassandra rubbed her forehead as she considered what that actually meant. If she hadn't told Sadie to stop, only one of them would be suffering instead of both of them. Or would she be suffering at all? Did she tell Sadie to stop because she wanted her to? Or out of some misplaced obligation? If it didn't matter to her that she was violating one of God's laws, why did it matter so much she was violating another? Even then, that was Connor's perspective, not hers. Cassandra had beliefs, Sadie knew about them. If she'd given in to sin and let Sadie do likewise, they'd both be suffering worse. She knew it. God's way wasn't always the easy way. She knew that. Damien interrupted her reflections. Hey, Brown just texted me. Said you aren't answering your phone. She wants to know if you're coming to her Reaping the Reapers party tomorrow night or something. I assume you know what that means? Cassandra figured it must be Stephanie's gloat about defeating their armored foes all at once. She didn't especially want to go. She didn't feel well, but didn't want them to know what she was feeling. Where? She just said be at her and Drake's bunker by 11. Fireworks go off at 12. Whatever that means. Cassandra nodded and Damien departed again. At least she had another distraction to look forward to.